Tim Conway. With champion jockey Chris McCarron, premier track announcer Trevor Denman, and professional handicapper Steve Arthur.
Hello. Strange as it may seem, I'm Tim Conway, and I'm going to be talking about a subject today that is very close to my heart and my wallet, might I add, horse racing. A reviewer once said to me, what would you rather have, an Oscar or own the horse that won the Kentucky Derby? And I said, I would rather have the winner of the 9th race at any track in the country. Wouldn't necessarily even have to be my horse. I love the sport. I'm going to introduce you to three fellas here who are going to join me in talking a little bit about handicapping today and how to get you to the window so that when you're sitting there and all the horses have gone by the line and you're holding a ticket, maybe you'll be able to say, I got it. Very important. We're going to be talking about the sport of kings. The sport of kings is about the sport of kings and horse racing. How did I get into this? My father was what they call a whip in Ireland, which is, if you see these pictures of fox hunts, the guys in the red coats, the guy who keeps all the dogs together and holds a whip in his hand is called a whip. He was a whip over in Ireland, and he came to this country to be a whip in this country. Now, if you have looked out in your backyard on a Saturday, you don't see too many fox hunts going by. So this became, he thought there was going to be quite a calling for whips over in this country, and obviously there wasn't. So he got into training polo ponies, working around horses, and then eventually into training racehorses, and that's how I got into it. Now, when I was in high school, I didn't know what to put down for my father's occupation. My mother said, well, he is a stable manager, or he is an equine financier, when in reality, he was mucking out and betting horses, as we all know. But that's how I got into this. I wanted to be a jockey. I was galloping horses in Cleveland until I was about 12, between 12 and 14 years old. I started galloping when I was 98 pounds. I got up to 138 pounds, and the horses were saying, excuse me, could you get off? Very thin little ankles that we're running on here. This is too much weight, please. So I decided to stay close to horses after that, and I am now a very bright guy because I now own horses, which we'll get into a little bit later. I'm going to introduce a guy here, a jockey type fellow. Now, how about this for some records? National riding titles, local riding titles. He has won the George Wolfe Memorial Award. He's won the Eclipse Award, both for an apprentice and a journeyman. He has ridden such great horses as Lemhi Gold, Precisionist, Turco Man. He was John Henry's personal friend around the track a couple of times. In 1987, he jumped on the back of a horse called Ali Sheba, and though Ali wanted to pray in the middle of the stretch, he went to his knees and said a few words. Chris lifted him up and said, we've got to get to the finish line here. This is very important to me and to a lot of other people. Took him across, won the Kentucky Derby, went on to win the Preakness with him. And he has ridden over 21,000 mounts. He has been in the money 52% of the time, and he has won over $92 million in purses, and that's all the time we have. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris McCarron. As I said, an outstanding jockey, really is, and actually has ridden horses for us, which, of course, in the toilet. Okay, but some of the big ones he's brought around because that's more money, sure, what do we get? The next gentleman I am going to introduce to you is the premier racetrack announcer. If you have ever heard Trevor Denman, you have heard the best. This man has the ability to bring a whole story to a race. I have seen claiming races at tracks where horses fall out of the gate, they wander around the track, they're like this, they're 44 years old. You would think with Trevor announcing it's the Kentucky Derby every time. The man is magnificent. He has a couple of vocal signatures that go along with Trevor, such as, and away they go. And one of the ones that I enjoy most is Trevor will say, he's moving like a winner. And if you've got your money on the 5, you can go to the window, which is a thrill if you have your money on the 5. If you have your money on the 9 at the time, it's very irritating. So I'd like to introduce a premier racetrack announcer and a part-time pain in the neck, Trevor Denman. And Last but not least, this gentleman is the editor-in-chief of a publication, weekly publication called Inside Track. He is also the host for a morning handicap show, also by the same name, Inside Track. No imagination, obviously. They call both of them the same thing. And more importantly, this gentleman, Steve Arthur, gave me a tip 6 years ago, which won. And I have never forgotten him for that, and now Steve lives in my house. Anybody who gives me a tip and the thing actually wins becomes a very close personal friend of mine. So, ladies and gentlemen,